Hey, this is Priadol Orange. If you've checked out my DeviantArt, thank you very much. If you've left likes or anything, comments, I'm still doing open requests. Really love those. I want to preface this with saying I'm not the world's best artist. I'm just starting out, although I do hope to get better. I think anyone who does anything does. And this is my process of drawing. I like to start very small, which kind of bites me in the long run sometimes, having to make things bigger, stretch it. I'm gonna try working on um, staying in a larger screen. I think that will help me personally, but maybe watching these videos will help someone who struggles with something that I don't, which sounds super douchey. It's meant in the most sincere way. Also, these are not gonna be great. This also is not being recorded, the voice and the drawing at the same time. I wasn't able to whenever I was drawing this, but I think I would like to do that in the future. So, sorry if it seems a little disconnected. I start very rough, very, very rough. I like to just kind of get a general framework in. I should have moved up more so that the hips are higher. They're less flat to like the groin area. Um, I'm watching myself do this drawing and I hope I can edit the timing correctly. That's way too thin. I fix that in a second, I know. If you see me struggling with like control and stuff, I'm not very great with computers. I've had a lot of help from my cousin and also DeviantArtist Alien Queen. She's the best. Check her out. Also, Candy Stars is um, her girlfriend. She's awesome. They're both awesome. Check their commissions, pay them. So the idea of this character, and I know it looks really awkward because of the arm placement, and that segment I just said came out really awkward. Might re-record. If I don't, oh well, leave this in. Um, I don't want to give away too much yet, just because it's not panned out. I have lots of ideas, and I'm trying to work to fit the art to them, but they're very odd, I think. Like, I don't really enjoy talking like to people about them, so this is kind of working myself into expression better. Faces, jaws have always been difficult, so that's gonna be real rough. Working on that, working on everything. Also, I'm drawing in Fire Alpaca. If you can't see that in the top right, I'm drawing on a Wacom tablet. I love it. Kind of small, but it's great. Ooh, excuse me. So if you can't tell from the hat, it's gonna be a little farmer guy. Um, trying to not get ahead of my drawing. Also trying to not leave super awkward pauses of nothing. So I had this idea of a character that for some reason his right foot doesn't work, or his right leg, and to make it seem less noticeable, he uses like a hoe, which is not what you might think. It is just a little gardening tool to walk with because it has a flat surface underneath, so he puts it under his leg and lifts it. And this is the end of phase 1. Yeah, I broke it. I think I have 4 phases recorded, and I broke it down into that. Hey, I'm hoping to have just cut into the second part of I don't know how many parts. I'm hoping that this transition goes well. I am learning to edit from a master editor of the name Madeline Kubiak. She has a YouTube channel, you should check her out. So, having the basics down, the basics, quote unquote, I like to go ahead and add a small amount of detail. So, just starting with, as you can see, 2 lines
those are going to be overalls, which I've not seen in a long time, so they could be better. Um, yeah, and then maybe add a little bit more detail onto the buttons, but that would probably be safer for a later time. Some people, maybe they just like to go one layer, do everything in one go. If you can, that's awesome. I thought that's how I was going to be, just because that's how I've learned to do art on paper and everything, but layers are extremely helpful. Still confusing, still extremely helpful. So, still going with a very awful looking shoe and just figuring out where I want the end of it to be. Because once I find the end of the shoe, I can start that side of the pants. And I know it looks gross, having all those lines, all of the dirtiness, but in the end, it's going to be, I think, easier to do it this way for me. They're very baggy, but also there's still an amount of detail in it because I made this leg or bigger, not longer, because that leg works. The whole idea of this character and the reason he has that tool, I think I've already said this actually, is that his right leg doesn't work. So it's understandable that if he can't use it, it wouldn't have a lot of muscle growth on it. So I like to hopefully incorporate small details that maybe make it look weirder, but if you think about it, work. So I don't know if any of you have seen people who wear overalls. I know it's not uncommon in most places, but it's also not super common in places that don't have like farm stuff like cities. So some people walk around with just the overalls, no shirt. I'm not a huge fan of doing that. I don't wear overalls. I'm not a huge fan of wearing them. But I thought it might be better to give him a shirt. Also, because he wants to hide the fact that his leg doesn't work. This idea just came from me doing stuff, but I like to think that he's from an older time where having any sort of difference was not exactly good. So what I just did, although the lines still look awful, is giving it a little more feeling. So having the lines just straight makes it flat. Oh, sorry. But giving it curve, giving it angle can bring a little more life, I think, into things. Which, once again, I'm not the world's greatest artist. I'm not saying, like, my word is the law of art throughout entire generations. I'm just saying that I like to draw. Sorry, I lost my point. I like to draw, and if I can help someone else who maybe struggles with that or like is just getting into art, which I'm just getting into art. And I mean like the younger people that are just starting to draw, period. And maybe they're lucky enough to have a laptop and a drawing tablet, but they don't have like the solidness, they don't have how lines underneath things won't be shown yet. Which, I mean, that's pretty basic stuff, but it adds stuff, like it adds an amount of realness to things, I think. And I think if you want to show